Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is TwoHeadedFlounder. Welcome to my channel. For anybody that does not know me, I have played Pokemon for a very long time. I've played the majority of the games and every variation of it there is. I've played the main series games, I've played the trading card game, just insane amount of Wi-Fi battling. I mean, really an insane amount of Wi-Fi battling. And I still play Pokemon Go. Pokemon has been a major part of my life for the last 20 years, and unfortunately, the non-stop playing of it is not necessarily a good thing. This last year or so, I've basically been burnt out on Pokemon altogether. I just don't have any will to play a lot of the games, and the trading card game has become very stale and dull to me. However, one day I was sitting on YouTube and I started watching these videos. They were Pokemon videos. You know, can I beat X game with X Pokemon only? And I quickly became addicted to these videos and I just binge watched them. And it was this new excitement for me. I was a little kid on Christmas opening something and I started doing my own video. And well, I'm doing my own video now, but I started doing my own challenges, and these challenges were pretty simple, like can I beat the game without healing and battling, and then I successfully beat my first Nuzlocke with my extensive knowledge of the game. And with all of that, I'm bringing you this video here today. Can I beat the entire Elite Four with newly caught Pokemon only? Let's Go Pikachu edition. So for any challenge video, there are usually a set of rules. These just happen to be mine. Number 1, we must catch and use only wild Pokemon, the levels and stats that they were at when we caught them. This means there is no experience gain whatsoever before the Elite Four. There is no leveling whatsoever before the Elite Four. No candies can be used on any of these Pokemon, and no evolution can be had other than very specific rules, which we lead to number 2. I can evolve them as long as they are exactly the same as they were, or by evolving them, they leveled up mid-Elite Four and then proceeded to evolve. I can also evolve via Evolution Stone or trading. Those last 2 options allow me to reach the final stage of evolution without really messing up my stats too much, because these Pokemon still have absolutely no experience gain and are exactly the same levels that they were when we caught them. Rule number 3, there is absolutely no healing mid-battle. This is going to be especially rough on this challenge because I really need that experience gain, so if a Pokemon faints and doesn't get that experience, that might hurt for the later stages of the Elite Four. And lastly, just to have fun with this. Seriously, this is a silly run just made for having fun, and I'm really looking forward to this one because it's going to put a lot of mental strain on me trying to make sure I pick the right team, the right move combinations, and just having right choices to deal with their stuff. And with that said, let's hop into this video. So the first few things that we should probably address here are, well, we're going to be talking to this Psychic Channeler a lot and giving her a lot of money, because having very specific natures is going to be very crucial for our strategy. Maybe being able to outspeed one thing in Elite Four is the difference between winning or not. Secondly, our pool of Pokemon to choose from is ridiculously small. We're going to need Pokemon in the late level 50s, and this is really all we can get. And we're taking on the Elite Four the second time around, and that means that their teams are going to be fully stacked and are actually full teams this time. So we're going to need really just the highest possible levels we can get. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking just catch the legendary birds, great stats, great Pokemon. Yeah, they are. However, maybe a level 57 Charizard is better than Moltres, especially move pool wise and being able to Mega Evolve, or just Dragonite in general having a pretty decent matchup against Lance's team while also just having a lot of great resistances that maybe Articuno wouldn't have. So it's things like this we need to take into consideration when building our team. And there's also a lot of redundant types here. There are so many flying types to choose from, it's ridiculous. We only have 2 possible mega options, and I think running both of them on the same team would be great. It probably doesn't work out too well having that many flying type Pokemon. We're already going to have 2 as it is, in Charizard and Dragonite. Spoilers. We already caught Dragonite. Fun fact, I didn't know you could catch Dragonite at like level 7 or 9. It was something I didn't know would happen, and I didn't pay attention to the levels, so later on I have to go catch a second Dragonite, which is just so much fun, especially spending another $10,000 to get a single adamant Pokemon. Very fun. We're also going to go ahead and have to decide between certain things like, is Poliwrath the better option than Golduck? Overall, I did go with the Poliwhirl, which we will evolve with the Water Stone, but is having the fighting type going to be more beneficial than a special attacking water type that has access to Psychic and Calm Mind, which is just a great thing overall. But then we also have to take into consideration, yeah, it might get Calm Mind and might be able to set up on, I don't know, something like Onix against Bruno, but it's Calm Mind, so we're still going to be taking those Earthquakes at full power, and then by the time Hitmonlee comes in and probably outspeeds us, we're gonna get knocked out. And I know that we can probably take out a few Pokemon along the way. Like, he's probably immediately going to go into his Hitmonchan to try and Thunder Punch us. We outspeed, take it out with Psychic, and that's all good. But maybe having a better strategy overall and having better Pokemon overall is something that's worth it. And honestly, I think having the fighting type in Poliwrath might be just a little bit more worth it than the possibility of setting up with Calm Mind with a Golduck that's not even a Psychic type. So we're also going to obviously be trading our Graveler here to evolve it into Golem. So unfortunately, when you trade Pokemon, you can't tell them to not evolve unless they're holding an Everstone, and because Pokemon don't hold items in Let's Go, I can't stop it from evolving. So unfortunately, we don't get the glorious evolution on our screen, but we have this beautiful Metapod to look at. I mean, look at this. It is absolutely stunning. We should have used this on our team, but no. In all seriousness, it's I picked these Pokemon over other Pokemon. We had Rhyhorn to pick from, obviously. I think a lot of people probably would have just went with Rhyhorn, but comparing the stats of Rhyhorn and Golem, I thought Golem was a better option. Yes, it has maybe 10 less base attack than Rhydon, but we just need to hit things with Earthquake or Rock Slide, really. So as long as we're hitting for super effective damage and hitting sometimes for quad super effective damage, is just kind of gonna even it out. So if it was me going up against the Magneton, hitting with Earthquake, it really doesn't matter either way. It's going down. So I didn't really think that the attack was too important here. I thought maybe that the slight speed might be beneficial against something like a Slowbro in the Elite Four. There are 2 of them. But also on top of that, the defenses on Golem are just a lot better than Rhydon's. So just having something like that allows me to maybe take a hit better than Rhydon would have taken it. So just the little things. And then also trying to have the best possible moveset on these guys. As you can see here, this is basically what I ended up with. And you're going to see all their stats. I really wanted to show off everything so that you can fully understand that I did not touch these stats. These are the natures. These are the moves that we went with. And there's a lot of just little things in my head that were going through them going, this is probably going to be good for this, and we're going to need this for this. This is how I beat XYZ, and these are XYZ Pokemon to be XYZ trainers. Yeah, this is what we ended up with. I thought Chansey might be good overall, and that's what I got. So let's battle Lorelei. So I want to apologize that I never put battle animations back on for Lorelei because I never saved before the Elite Four, or at least I think I never did, and I did not want to redo 2 hours of work all over again just for battle animations. So I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, I don't know. Anyway, let off with Polygraph thinking Superpower is going to be enough to take on Dugong. It lived, and then I take a little bit of unnecessary damage before taking out another one. We're all caught up. In comes Lapras. I go to Chansey because I think I can really just wall it for days, and I have Thunder. And this is probably the most incredible battle you'll ever see in your life. This Chansey versus Lapras. I never miss a single one of my moves. I also get great para hacks and them actually being paralyzed and managing to cover up fully and just getting off attacks, and it's insane. Like, I'm not even joking. I went for a Thunder, I go for a couple of Fire Blasts, and I finish it off with a Blizzard, and I do not miss a single time. I've even rewatched it a few times, and I'm still amazed that I never miss a single attack. Just crazy. In comes Jinx. I'm going to stay in because I know Jinx can't really touch me, and I have Fire Blast, but I see it's not really doing great damage. And it's going to try to put me to sleep as I heal up, but I'm just kind of looking at it like, I don't really know if I want Chansey in here. Like, we're running low on PP regardless, and I don't know, we're not really doing a whole lot of damage. And I basically let Chansey faint. I don't want to switch out because I don't want anything taking a hit or going to sleep. I want to free switch into Charizard because I just want to try and outspeed it and kill it. Unfortunately, Jinx is a little bit faster than me and puts me to sleep, but spoilers, we're going to eventually wake up and be just perfectly fine dealing with Jinx. I can go for Heat Wave at this range because I know it'll definitely take it out. And in comes Cloyster. I'm looking at my team, I'm thinking Fire Blast should be enough because Cloyster has pitiful special defense. And it's more than enough, which is great, so I don't have to worry about it. In comes Slowbro. I know I cannot touch that whatsoever with my Charizard, so I decided to go to Snorlax. Idea here is just to Toxic it and whittle away and try and knock it out that way. I do start going for Body Slams, and it's my strongest attack. It's something good to go for. He does go to sleep, but Slowbro faints the poison, so it's not really a big deal. I'm going to go back out with the Charizard at this point because she only has one Pokemon left in that Sand Slash, and easily, as long as I hit Heat Wave, it goes down, and I just beat Lorelei. It's not too hard, but we have our work cut out for us with the rest of the Elite Four. Moving on to Bruno, there's not really much I have to worry about. I have a few flying types on my team, so type coverage is pretty good. And I do have Poliwrath, which I'm expecting that early on I can set up on this Onix and just kind of take care of a few of his guys. But unfortunately, instead of him going for the Stealth Rock right away, or on the second turn, he chooses to Earthquake me. Meaning I'm not going to be too stable on my HP, and it's not going to be at a range where I really want it to be. I would have liked to have gotten the Bulk Ups up and then start taking Earthquakes, but what can you do? I take out Onix and he goes into Hitmonchan. I know the Thunder Punch is coming, it's pretty obvious, but because of my Bulk Ups, I'm easily able to take it, fire off a Superpower, and take down Hitmonchan. He's going to send up his Alolan Golem at this point, which I'm thinking I should be fine as long as I outspeed it. I am +1, and Superpower is a very strong stab move, but Golem is a tanky Pokemon, and it takes it no problem. So I decided to go into my own Golem at this point because, I mean, that's what you do, right? When you have the superior version of the Pokemon, you go out into the superior version. He actually goes for a Superpower of his own, and then I fire off an Earthquake. I'm a little surprised he outsped me, but I mean, I guess I really shouldn't be. He's a few levels higher than me. I don't really know what I was thinking. I don't really know what to do here. I'm honestly just thinking that if there is the ever slightest possibility I can outspeed it, Explosion might be a good option, but I don't know what really at all what I'm thinking. There's no way I was going to outspeed that either. So yeah. I go into my Dragonite, who gets outsped. I mean, seriously, I'm very just confused by that in general, but he hits me with a Superpower. I was fully expecting an Ice Punch, but hey, that works too. I decided to set up an Agility because if I can manage to just do so, I should be able to sweep the rest of his team with Dragonite. I go for Fly at this point, and awkward moment, I miss Fly, and he hits me with a third Superpower. So as long as I don't miss the next one, that's for sure a dead Poliwrath, which is easily his bulkiest Pokemon, and thankfully enough, it just goes down, which is just great. In comes Machamp. I'm worried that a fly won't be able to take it out, especially because of the level difference here, but surprisingly enough, it goes down no problem. So that was my second thing to worry about, and I really have no worries about Hitmonlee, which is his last, because I know I outspeed, I know he goes down to 1, and Bruno was an easy GG for us. So up next is obviously Agatha. I'm thinking my best bet is leading off with Golem against her, because I literally have type coverage for her entire team on that single guy. And I'm thinking that I want to set up Stealth Rocks because it helps me deal with Golbat, but also reduces Gengar's health, making it easier to one-shot. And I'm thinking this is good, and then I realized that Arbok carries Earthquake, and not wanting to be two-shot, I decided to go for an Earthquake, as she actually does go for the Glare. It's kind of a toss-up between is she going to go for Earthquake because the game knows I'm weak to it, or going for Glare because I'm not paralyzed. But thankfully I got lucky, and she just paralyzed my already slow Pokemon. In comes her Alolan Marowak. I really don't want to play around, so I decided to go on to Poliwrath because I can literally take anything it's going to want to do, fire off some waterfalls, and just take it out. And then Weezing's going to come out. I'm going to go right back into Golem because, one, I know Weezing really can't touch me. If anything, it's going to be a 3-hit KO on me. I'm going to easily be able to knock it out and or do some good damage and get my rocks up. I do go for Stealth Rock on the second one, actually, after it was on, you know, almost half, but a little bit under. And then, surprise, surprise, I actually live. And I probably should have went for Earthquake so I could get the experience, but I went for that cool-ass explosion because why not? Why wouldn't I go for it? Come on. I know that she has Golbat and 2 Gengars left. Gengar's probably coming out, so I decided to go into my Snorlax, go for an Earthquake because I have it, and it's going to do the most damage to Gengar, but it lives on a sliver, so Stealth Rock really didn't matter, I guess. I get 40% on the first Sludge Bomb, which hurts, and then I take a second one, and I'm ridiculously low on HP as I take it out. Like, I have no health left, so I don't know what to do with my Snorlax at this point. In comes the other Gengar, and I'm going to go to Chansey because this thing really can't touch me, but it goes for Sucker Punch and does about half, so that's pretty scary. So at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, I probably just have to start soft-boiling every other move and just dodging her Sucker Punches until she's out of it, which should be about 5 of them. So, I don't know. Is it 5 or is it 10? I'm thinking it's 5 for some reason, because I'm trying to remember, but my game plan is just to avoid it, and I think she does run out of it, and I'm just going for moves. I eventually do get Poison, which is, again, you know, perfectly fine. It's not like Gengar can really touch me too much. Poison damage hurts, but it's not the worst thing in the world, and I can just soft boil back up to full no problem because I'm a special tank, and this is what Chansey does. And if you've ever battled one, you know how annoying it is. I start going for some Thunders. I probably should have just, I don't know, been worried about that instead of going for Blizzards and things like that, trying to paralyze it or something. I was actually trying to freeze it, I believe, at one point, but, you know, I can't be all the lucky in the world. And I think that I do manage to take out the Gengar, but I think that, I don't know, I got lucky because she didn't go for Sludge Bomb, she went for Dazzling Gleam, which I don't really understand, but Chansey does level up and is going to go down to Poison. It's a weird series of events. I don't know why it just doesn't Sludge Bomb again, it's super weird, but last is Golbat. I decided to go into my Dragonite because I can definitely Thunder Wave it and paralyze it, make sure I can outspeed it, but I get flinched. And then I get stat reduction, I think, and then I manage to get it, and then I just go for Outrage, which I really should have just done to begin with, because it probably just would have sped up the whole process as I get Quick Attack. Agatha carries Quick Attack on a level 63 Golbat. Why? Just why? Finish it off with my Poliwrath, and we're moving on to Lance. Up last with Leaf 4 is obviously Lance, and he is a problem. This took me a few retries to do, and I finally had to come up with the strategy of having to guarantee the first turn Stealth Rock while he misses Hydro Pump. This took me about 10 soft resets to do, but it's very crucial in my strategy to defeat him. A lot of his team is weak to rocks, being that most of the Pokemon on his team are flying type, and it helps a lot. Seriously, the level difference here is pretty bad. Not only that, His Mega Charizard and his Gyarados are a real problem for me, and I need specific Pokemon to stay alive and healthy just to deal with them. I immediately switch out to Chansey, and I literally just wall this and sponge everything it wants to do all day while firing off Thunders, which tends to be a 3-hit knockout. I get a lucky Para, which means I can try and get to full HP before it really can do anything, but he goes for Dragon Pulse here, and that being his weakest move, I decide that this is a pretty decent amount of HP to stay at. I miss a Thunder, but he gets parried, so it's kind of balancing each other out. I finish him off with one last Thunder, and we're moving on to the rest of his team, which is actually the scary part. He's going to go with his Aerodactyl. I have to go with Golem. I know I can take any one attack, and I have to hit Rock Slide. If I don't, then I probably have to restart because this is my best bet to deal with Aerodactyl. Thankfully, I do hit, it goes down, and I have a half-dead Golem remaining. In comes Gyarados. I specifically have to use Poliwrath here because I resist the majority of the moves it wants to go for other than Hyper Beam, but if it does Hyper Beam, it has to recharge. He goes for Crunch as I start bulking up because I have to go for a few bulk ups before going for Ice Punches. He gets a lucky defense drop, but it's not really what I'm worried about. I need more attack than I really need more defense. He goes for Hyper Beam. It leaves me at a decent amount of HP, but this just means he is forced to recharge, and I get another free attack off. I'm going down next turn, and I know that, but I get a lucky freeze, and I'll take it at this point because this Gyarados is really scary. It one-shots Chansey with Waterfall from full. Next up, I go back out to Chansey because it's my best bet against Executor. I have Blizzard. I can pretty much tank anything this thing wants to do. I know it has maybe one physical attack on it, but even that is probably not enough to take me out being an Executor. So I should be just perfectly fine to just go for some Blizzards, as he actually reveals Mega Drain. And that's actually really annoying because I need to try and knock this thing out, and if it's going to heal and make it a 4-hit knockout instead of a 3, then that's not really good. But he goes for a Hyper Beam. I finish off with another Blizzard, and that's just one of the things I had to worry about as well. Next is Charizard. I go in with Charizard as he goes into Dragonite. I have to Mega Evolve here and just straight up go for an Outrage. This is the only thing on my team that will outspeed his Dragonite, and because it's not at full, this is definitely a guaranteed knockout. And his last Pokemon is his Mega Charizard, which actually outspeeds my Charizard. So I had to leave Snorlax very healthy here, just so that way I could take any one attack that this thing wanted to do for sure without dying, firing off an Earthquake. He actually goes for Flare Blitz, which means I get the guaranteed knockout, and I thankfully beat Lance. It was a tough one, but I beat him. We finally make it to our rival. I've failed the battle a few times, but I finally find a strategy that works. Sort of. His Mega Pidgeot has been the bane of my existence the entire time, and dealing with it early on is the best thing to do. I finally decide that maybe Snorlax is the best option, and trying to whittle it down with Toxic might work, and unfortunately, I couldn't be any luckier. My plan is to KO with Toxic and maybe a little bit of Ice Punch damage, and for some baffling reason, he decides to start going for Heat Waves over Air Slash. Air Slash is a guaranteed 3-hit knockout on me, and also has the potential to flinch me. Heat Wave can burn me, but it's not really that big of a deal when I'm using Toxic damage, so this whole thing is just very odd. After a few Ice Punches and Toxic damage, it does go down, and I don't have to deal with this pain anymore. Next is Vileplume, which is perfectly fine by me, because I know that I can easily Mega Evolve and take it out with a Fire Blast. However, I don't want any mishaps to happen, and I don't want it to switch out, so I decided to go with Poliwrath. Knowing that its only possible move to hurt me is Solar Beam, it's forced to go for it. This allows me on the turn that it charges up to switch out into Charizard, and on the following turn Mega Evolve and go for Fire Blast. I do hit, but unfortunately it lives on the tiniest sliver of HP, and hits me with a Solar Beam for 40 damage. That is 4 times resisted, and it did still a lot of damage. However, it's kind of a good thing, as it actually forces my rival to use a full restore, which he has 3 of, and getting rid of any of them at any point before Slowbro is probably ideal. I fire off 2 Heat Waves and I take down Vileplume. Next, he's going to send out his Jolteon, so I decide to go to Golem, knowing that I can fully well just take anything that it wants to do and still have a decent amount of HP left. Unfortunately, as it would be cute to get up rocks and do a little bit of damage to some of his guys, it's not really the greatest thing for me. I need a lot of health left on my Golem. I take it out with an EQ, and in comes his Slowbro. This is where things start to go terribly wrong. Slowbro outspeeds my Snorlax, which means I can't Toxic it. My best bet is Chansey. However, he sets up an early light screen, and this cripples my already very pitiful special attack output. He eventually decides to send in Marowak, absorbing one of my Thunders, which is fine, but I know a fighting move is coming my way. I decide to switch into Charizard, thinking that, hey, I'm a Mega. I can do some serious damage to this thing. Forgetting light screen is up. I stupidly go for Heat Wave and am puzzled why it did only half as he takes me out with a Thunder Punch. Realizing the light screen is still up, I should have sent out Dragonite. Outrage probably would have done a fine job. I decided to go with Poliwrath though, thinking that I know I should be able to take a Thunder Punch no problem, and KO with Waterfall. But once again, it lives in the red. This is a very annoying reoccurrence in this battle. He uses Full Restore number 2, which again is perfectly fine as I fire off another Waterfall, doing slightly over half. I'm thinking, this is good, I outspeed him, I'll go for another Waterfall and take him out, but he lives as I do just under half this time. I go down to a Thunder Punch. I send in Dragonite at this point because I know I can easily take it out, which I do, and in comes Slowbro once again. It's the same as before, as I just try and do stuff with Chansey, but for an extended amount of time. I get it down to the mid-yellow, and I decide to sack Snorlax at this point because it's completely useless, and it's never really going to do anything for me in this battle. This allows me to get a free switch into Dragonite, and I'm thinking because high attack, high damage base power move, I might be able to take this out. I don't. It lives on red, and you guessed it, he uses his last Full Restore, and unfortunately for me, I get the 3-turn Outrage, which means I am forced to stay in, go for Outrage again, allowing me to go down to a Blizzard. I do a decent chunk of damage, but it's not enough to make me feel good. I'm forced to go back out into Chansey. I finally get him down to a mid-lower yellow HP level, and I decide to let Chansey faint so I have a free switch into Golem. This is my last Pokemon, and this is my only hope. I go for EQ, and I take it out. This is amazing. I honestly didn't think it was going to work because Dragonite couldn't do it, but Golem is obviously the better Pokemon. That leaves only Rapidash, and I know for a fact it has Horn Drill. I'm very scared. There's an 8-level difference here, and though I know it's not a stab move and it's not Earthquake, I'm thinking it's still going to take me out from this amount of HP. I survive really well and just one-shot it with an Earthquake, allowing me to beat my rival and become the champion. And yeah, I gotta say, it was a lot of fun. I ultimately knew that with the right team building choices that I would definitely be able to win. It just didn't really occur to me that I would fail this much. Yes, some of those losses were to unfortunate hacks or poor decisions made in the heat of the moment, but they were still losses nonetheless. So, even though it took me a while, I ultimately prevailed. And I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you got to this point, if you could leave a like, comment, or subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. This is a new concept on this channel and a new video type for me to do, so this has been out of my comfort zone, but I've had a lot of fun doing it. Hopefully the more I do in the future, the better I get at this, the better I get at editing, and the more absurd challenges we can do. This was just kind of the testing grounds, and I think next time we're going to try and do something a little bit more extensive. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.